Yo, what's up, SNA fans? This is Super Ninja Austin back here with the 126th episode of the SNA podcast. Wait, that's the 26th? No, 25, 125th episode. 26 will be later on this evening when I'm doing my AEW review. And yes, sir, I forgot to point this out. I'm wearing my Kenny Omega shirt because I have this was the first thing that was in my laundry bag, but I've been wearing this since yesterday. I forgot to point that out on yesterday's video on the review of NXT. And yeah, I'm wearing it right now. I got from AEWshop.com. Make sure you get your AEW merchandise there. And also at Pro Wrestling Tees. But anyways, enough to keep stalling onto my t-shirt. Like I'm here to talk about, this is the latest edition of the wrestling news. That's where Super Ninja Austin is going to talk about the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors that you SNA fans need to know. And the first time I'm going to be doing some wrestling research on the wrestling news. The first time will be on Wrestle Talk. My bad. the stall on where I'm going to talk about the wildest wrestling news for today's video on November 15th, 2023. And we're going. Yeah, this is the first time I'm doing the wrestling news on the WrestleZone, and on today's first list of WrestleZone, we got some damage control news. It's women's wrestling wraps up. Asuka aligns with damage control. Set the challenge. Zoe Stark is set to challenge Rhea Ripley in Voza review. And okay, we got Zoe Stark punches her ticket to WWE Survivor Series. Asuka aligns herself with Damage Control. AEW announces a three-way TBS championship match for Full Gear. Forza chats with WrestleZone, and more. And then we're gonna start off with the first women's wrestling news. This is on WWE's Monday Night Raw. We have Zoe Stark versus Rhea Ripley set for WWE Survivor Series, as with Crown Jewel in the rearview mirror. In the rearview mirror, the road to Survivor Series has begun. During last week's episode of Monday Night Raw, held number one contenders battle royal, winner of the contest would earn a shot at Rhea Ripley's Women's World Championship at Survivor Series. Before the match got underway, two women were removed from the field when Becky made her way down to the ring. She was blindsided by an attack from Xia Li. As a result, Lynch was not medically cleared to compete, and Xia was banned from competing. As the action unfolded, Nia Jax, Zoe Stark, Ivy Nile, Shayna Baszler, and Raquel Rodriguez emerged as the final five. Jax title pursuit was soon cut short as her four remaining opponents worked together, eliminated her from the match. In response, Jax pulled Nile to the floor, effectively eliminating her as well. After Stark and Baszler eliminated Rodriguez from the competition, they stood as the final two in the end. Like only only one could win, and that was Zoe Stark. The closing moment of the match saw Baszler and Stark fighting on the ring apron, and with Baszler trapping Stark inside the Carrot Fruta clutch, with Baszler teetering on the verge of elimination through she released the hold, prop, prompting Stark to then super kick her three times when Baszler remains re resilient, resilient, resilient. I believe that's what it's pronounced. Stark nailed her with a DDT, sending her crashing to the floor. With this win, Zoe Stark will now will advance to Survivor Series, where she will challenge Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's World Championship. And what do you think about that? Like I keep saying, like on Raw, like from this past Raw review, and then the Raw the Monday before, or the week from this past Monday, like when she very first won and beat everybody in the Women's Battle Royal. And also this past week, who you think is gonna win? Zoe Stark or Rhea Ripley? Which I think Ripley will win, and she's gonna hold on to that title until WrestleMania 40. And if that's the plans, what WWE is trying to if that's the any future plans that WWE hoping that they continue to follow. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments below. But anyway, and then we also have Asuka recently aligns with Damage Control on Friday night's episode of WWE SmackDown. Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair and Asuka uh, united to take on the trio of Bayley, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. Unfortunately for Flair and Belair, I think I kind of rhyme right there, but the point is, Asuka had a disturbing surprise for both of them in the midst of the action. Belair reached out for Asuka to tag herself in, but Asuka then proceeds to pull her handle back and spat mist on all over into Bianca Belair's face. Instead, this is opened the door for Damage Control and Asuka to ambush Belair and Flair. This caused the referee to call for the bell, ruling the match a no contest. While Shotzi rushed down to potentially save Belair and Flair, which is another rhyme again, but it's from the WrestleZone article. But anyway, it says calling like the match like Belair Damage Control's numbers advantage was too much to overcome. Unfortunately, Asuka's true alliance was revealed as she stood aside Bayley, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Dakota Kai in a post-match celebration. With WWE heading towards Survivor Series, this recent development presents the possibility for a women's War Games match. Like Asuka is now aligned with Damage Control, but it remains to be seen who Flair, Belair, and Shotzi will recruit to even the odds on their side. Who do you think's gonna even the odds on both Shotzi, Flair, and Belair? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And do you think that it will be a 5-on-5 or a 4-on-4? Like, regardless into the situation. Like, it could go like 5-on-5, which we have like the 5 women that's on Damage Control: Bailey, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, and then the new addition, Asuka. But we could possibly see some changes, like whether if Dakota Kai still injured, or still not compete or not, like, or she could still compete. We still have to worry about like Bianca Belair and Shotzi and Charlotte Flair. Was there, who's gonna be on their side, or where Io Sky? Not Io Sky, or they're gonna have a replacement like with Dakota Kai. Like we could possibly see the returning Saray, or it could be a 4-on-4. And they can either I'll say they can either kick out Bailey or keep her on there, or I should say it could be fortunate for fortunate for Damage Control. Like, but I can see it like this, like with Bailey, it will be Bailey, Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Io Sky against Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi, and the partner of their choosing, like, which will be a mystery partner we'll see at Survivor Series War Games. Or we could see the returning Saray, like they could as soon as Damage Controls kicks out the former leader Bailey, like soon to be former, I should say, like they kick out the soon to be former leader of the group, and then they'll add her to be the new member, which Io Sky will possibly be the new leader of the group, and it could be 4-on-4 that way. And then Bailey can align with Charlotte Flair, Bianca, and Shotzi. Or we could see that happening, and Dakota Kai like being cleared to compete for Survivor Series War Games, and then we can see them still be outnumbered, and they'll be finding a mystery partner of their choosing, which I'm not sure who it could possibly be. Like, what do you think? What could happen? Like with these few theories, I can come up with what's going to happen in the near few weeks on the road to Survivor Series War Games in the next week or two. Y'all let me know down in the comments below on what you think about the women's Survivor Series War Games. Like, either way, I still see it's going to be Team Damage Control against Team Bianca once again, except this time with Charlotte Flair and Shotzi on her team, and possibly having Bailey if Bailey gets kicked out of the team. That's only if she gets kicked out of the group. But I see still being regardless will be Bianca. And whether if it's Bailey or not, we still have to worry about having a a partner or two more to add on to her faction or alliance for the Team Babyface side of Survivor Series. But also, we also have some more women's division news updates with Chris Statlander set to defend her TBS championship at AEW Full Gear in a 3-way. While Hikaru Shida will defend her women's world championship against Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm. I need to start remembering to say that line. But anyways, it says right here, the 3-way match at Full Gear on Saturday's episode of AEW Collision, Julia Hart, Julia, from this past Collision, this past Saturday, Julia Hart defeated Willow Nightingale to secure the second spot into the title match. The third participant in the match will be determined this Friday when Rampage takes place between Sky Blue and Red Velvet. Like the winner of the Rampage contest will then join Hart and Statlander at AEW Full Gear in the battle for the TBS Championship. Red Velvet recently returned from injury, eating a loss to Hart on November 8th of AEW Dynamite. Bounced back 2 days later, defeated Ruby Soho on Rampage. This week, she goes one-on-one with Sky Blue in a number one contenders match. Like red versus blue, of course, I guess you could say. I that's very hilarious, I guess. But yeah, who do you think's gonna win this Friday? Like which will be 2 days from now. And who's gonna win and be the third participant in the second number one contender in the three-way match against Statlander and Julia Hart. My predictions on Sky Blue because it'll be telling the story onto the potential heel turn that Sky Blue could possibly be doing at this Saturday's event at AEW Full Gear. My bad. Still congested. So it's it's hard, very difficult for me to speak with trying to be fast and quick and come up with words. I apologize by that, by the way. But anyways, yeah. What do you think? I think it's going to do to tell further up the story about the teasers of this heel turn could possibly will happen. Like they're just planting those seeds by day, and wait until Full Gear to pull the trigger onto with Sky Blue and possibly be the one to win the AEW Women's TBS Championship. What y'all think? Sound off in the comments below on that as well. But anyways, we also have interviews your homie the Nomi Gabby Forza spoke with WrestleZone's own Ella J about her impressive rookie year, bouncing her football career with wrestling. The long road to recovery, her after being hit by a Mack truck developing her identity in wrestling, sharing the ring with Chris Statlander and more. Impact Knockouts champion Trinity chatted with Denise Salcido about how she felt winning the Knockouts championship and the pressures of leading the women's division. If this is the best division of herself, her top favorite moments of favorite moments of 2023 and more. And then what you thought about that article news from this Impact Wrestling star, and about Trinity Fatu chatting with Denise Salcido. Y'all let me know in the comments below. Salcido, that's what her name is. And as a former WWE Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair appeared on Casual Conversations with the Classic to discuss her new reality TV series, Love in WWE, with her husband Montez Ford premiering in February. Kairi Sane's return, and then Shaw Flair's her favorite match mental health, and more. Okay, I don't think we have to talk about Kyrie Satan's return though, and also many more about that. But what do you thought about those news about what's going on in the women's division in WWE, AEW, and Impact Wrestling? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. We're gonna move on to the next news now as we got some Baron Corbin news now as he recalls under the radar battle with Seth Rollins. Picks breakout WWE match. And it says, well, according to this WrestleZone article, looks at he looks at what matches you should get that kind of matches. Oh, there it is. Like look at what match you should be watching, and they are recommended by today's professional wrestling stars. WrestleZone recently spoke with Baron Corbin, who was asked about the matches that he best remembers from his career. Like he said, I felt like I have a few going through the evolution of what I've done. I loved my match at TLC with Kalisto. I thought that was really cool, and it was kind of a breakout match for me. I loved my match at SummerSlam the following year with John Cena in 2017, of course. And he also says that that was an awesome one. I thought Roman Reigns and eyes match in Houston at the Royal Rumble was one that stands out because we found all all over the entire building. I appeared on top of a dugout in front of 80,000 people. That that one stands out. It's pretty massive. And he's like, yeah, obviously Kurt Angle at Mania is another one is a that is a massive match. Then there were a lot of really cool four-way and five ways, like when you had like when you had likes have like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, AJ Styles. A lot of those matches stand out for me, and then some with Seth Rollins with had the TLC match one night in San Diego on a SmackDown before the TLC pay per view. That I thought that match was unbelievable, and then just him and in his pay per view matches like I thought were awesome and unique, especially especially we had the Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch involved. Those ones flying under the radar, but those were special. Like matches, like but yeah, what you thought about Baron Corbin's favorite matches, or with the likes of Kalisto in 2016 was his breakout moment in his breakout year, of course, and the following year is in the biggest party of the summer in 2017 when he faced John Cena, and also in his favorite match with Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 35 in 2019, 2 years later. Then he also mentioned a year after that he faced Roman Reigns at Wrestle I'm not Wrestle at the Royal Rumble, like in 2020. I believe it was Royal Rumble, like into a street fight match, or unless he was referring to TLC, which was later on in December of 2019, where he was the last person before Jey Uso was the last person from this past July to pin Roman Reigns. But yeah, and also he talked about having his like trilogies of matches. I'm not sure if I should refer to them as trilogies rather than, I would say, lackluster double, if not triple, Universal Championship matches, but still was a good moment for Corbin. Like, the reason why I say lackluster is the way they booked the match, but still was telling the story, like when it, what was to come with the leading up to Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans, like being involved and making it a mixed tag team Extreme Rules match for a winner takes all for the Universal and the Raw Women's Championship, which I'll say that was probably the only best thing about the rivalry, like with Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin, only in my opinion. Like, nothing negatively bad against these guys. It's just the way WWE booked the two previous matches. But the mixed tag team matches for the Universal and Raw Women's Championship matches, that was really good in my opinion with this feud. But yeah, what you thought about what Baron Corbin think, like, about bringing up his favorite matches in his WWE career from the past 7 years in the main roster? Sound off in the comments below, and we're going to move on to the next news now. And we got some very rare Moose news now. Is he said he wants to make, like, you want to make a it's where Moose tells this person he wants to make make them pee their pants by making them laugh or beat up or whatever this means. But I'm gonna get to the point and read the article saying Moose enjoys being a dual threat for Impact Wrestling and IPWF, like the IPWF, like Impact, which stands for IPWF, like, which stands for Impact Provincial Wrestling Foundation, or not foundation. That's a foundation, federation. My bad. I can do a tongue tie like that. Impact Provincial Wrestling Foundation. I'm not foundation. What I keep saying foundation for. Impact Provincial Wrestling Federation, like, returns for throwback throwdown 4 this weekend. Moose will once again portray DJ Too Large on the show, and he spoke with WrestleZone about getting a chance to step into the role and more. Moose portrays a specific character who calls himself a wrestling god in Impact Wrestling. The IPWF, which stands for Impact Provincial Wrestling Federation, he sees it as a chance to show everyone just how well rounded he is, and saying honestly, I used this opportunity to show the world in the locker room that I can do it all. I can be a serious wrestler. I can be an entertainment wrestler. I can be the guy that makes you laugh and pee your pants, Moose explained. Or I can be the guy that beats you and pee your pants by physically beating you up. I I could do it all. I take pleasure in that. But yeah, what you thought about when Moose said the WrestleZone? Like I'm saying, he can be a very entertaining and hilarious guy, and he can also be the most fierce and scary, brutal, brutal man that loves beating his opponents up and beating the absolute pee out of them. Let me know in the comments below. I think he can be both. Like if I can see the personality side of things, which I kind of did when I saw that one segment where he basically when he basically roasted both Matt Cardona and his real life wife Chelsea Green before she made her return to WWE when she was still in Impact Wrestling about a year or two ago. Like when I believe Moose was facing Matt Cardona to defend his Impact World Championship, and then he made some jokes about some things, like very naughty things about Chelsea Green, which I believe every wrestling fan would agree on, like with her being a with her being the heel wrestler that she is. Like in her husband Matt Cardona, I can tell you this, that he called her husband Matt Cardona a mid Cardona. Yeah, called him mid Cardona, and I can't say what else he said else because that could restrict me from being a PG professional wrestling journalistic YouTuber. But anyways, yeah, y'all let me know in the comments down below and what you thought about what Moose said. Okay, we're gonna move on to some. We're gonna move on to Alpha Academy news now, as they broke and the monitor the monitor tier wrestling monitor wrestling mid set. I mean, mindset. Like my bad. A natural wrestling mindset embraced sports entertainment. Alpha Academy provides a lot of entertainment value in WWE. WrestleZone managing editor Bill Pritchard spoke with Alpha Academy's Chad Gable and Otis about breaking the mindset they had as colleague, collegiate, 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 college, 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 cal, collegiate, collegiate athletes. Chad Gable previously spoke to House of Wrestling, Nick Hausman, about being focused on having art piece matches that stood the test of time. As as a as a follow up, Pritchard asked how difficult it was for both of them to embrace the entertainment side of wrestling as former amateur am, amateur amateur as an amateur, like as a former amateur wrestler. My bad. But anyways, Chad Gable was like, yeah, I mean, it it was extremely hard for someone like me, not just because of the amateur, not just the amateur wrestler part of the full disclosure. I was a total wrestling geek when I was a kid. I was obsessed with tape trading and and all kinds of Japanese wrestling, Mexican wrestling, aka lucha libre. So to me, that's what I mean when I say I wanted everything to be this art perfect art form of a match like I fell in love with. Gable said that a lot of overcoming overcoming mindset involves understanding what purpose of WWE was. He said that they don't just wrestle; they also tell stories and connect with the audience. Gable also Gable also noted that, saying this, we provide entertainment in various groups of people and age ranges. So it's not necessarily like if we're talking about my job and what I do here for this company. He said it's not always just to put on these amazing matches. It's to also do those other things I just mentioned. So it was more just accepting the fact that hey, saying that hey, the the place you worked for, you've got more than just wrestling to do. You've got a lot of other value to provide the people, and I think that's what helped me bridge the gap. You just had that swagger. Alpha Academy, Alpha Academy's Otis said it felt more natural to him in some ways. Otis said, I think it was kind of natural, like like natural. Like Gerald Briscoe I could say, like Gerald Briscoe could say this too. He he wasn't a great wrestler, but everything knew he was wrestling on the mat. That's my impression of him. Everything had his eyes had on Otis because on like which referring to Otis they because they knew there was going to be some kind of fist fist fight. You just had that swagger. Like one thing he did not. I mean, that one thing he did not. I was looking at the wrong spot. He did need to learn how to do was control his strength and make sure he wasn't hurting his opponents too much. Otis also stated, like, so for me, that kind of just like, I don't know, just being in the ring and kind of like cameras and all that it was a lot more natural. But like with the wrestling for me, it was learning about body control. It's also like control. It's also like don't really squeeze that hard, really that hard. Like, baby, you know what I mean. Make the face, but don't squeeze too hard. There's is that there's an old muscle memory gone wrong. So I won't do that anymore unless I'm really mad at somebody like Gunter. And what do you think about hearing this from the Alpha Academy about him being a wrestling geek ever since he was a small child, and that's and then that motivation helped lead him to becoming an amateur wrestler, and soon to be turned into a pro wrestler a couple of years after of being a amateur wrestler. Like, and what do you think about Otis getting his wrestling personality as a inspired from Gerald Briscoe? Like, y'all let me know down in the comments below as well onto that in the matter. But we're gonna move on to the next wrestling news article now, as we go to Cal Ray Calitri recalls wrestling the Hulk Hogan of Mexico. He's a complete rock star. And according to this WrestleZone article, they recently spoke to Ray Calitri, who picked some of his work in Mexico at highlights like who the shining star is, like like Ray Calitri. Excuse me. Calitri noted, the first one that comes off the top of my head immediately is me against ne- Negro Casas Casas. For who do not know who he is he's the equivalent of Hulk Hogan in American wrestling, like equivalent Hulk Hogan in American wrestling. This dude is a complete rock star. Like, I didn't know I was facing him until I got to the venue. They gave me the they gave me the nod like, "Hey, kid, you're in the main event." And I'm like, "What? Like me?" Okay? Like, in the video clip that I have up on my social media, when they tagged him in and they tagged me in, and like I'm literally like, like we are letting it breathe, like, right, I breathe, right, like, so I'm I'm just walking in, and all you hear is the whole crowd of, I think it was like 350 people, or even 400 people in the building. He explained. Oh man, he explained, like, they all start chanting his name, like, Negro, Negro. And dude, my chest went slow beating. Like, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. That was a very, very cool moment. like no tap out, like Cali Calatrese added a second match with Tornado Negro because of the crowd reaction they received. He said, I I'll give you a second one real quick. I I made my debut in T- T- Tehua T- uh, Tehua Tehua 2 years ago, and again I was facing another legend in Tornado Negro, which that dude is synonym, synonymous in T in Tehua Lucha Libre history. In Tehua Lucha Libre history, he has taken off like 25 wrestlers mask or something like that. That's a bit. Where was I? Like that's like your career. Excuse me for a second. That's much better. But anyways, back to the news story. It says right here, like that's a big deal when it comes to lucha libre history. You lose your mask, that's like your career. So when we're in the match or whatever, and we're about to go to the finish of the referee, it's like tap, tap, tap. And I said, no, 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 tap. Like, and he said, and he also said, the, I have the crowd, which that he said it twice repeatedly, according to this interview on this article, a crowd in my hand, like at this point, like then I called the audible real quick. He explained, and we do whatever else, and then we finally get back to the finish, and then that place just erupts. Like, and even though, of course, his hand got raised, I know at the end of the day that I walked away with the people's respect. Caladri, Calatree, like said, because every time I go back to 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 Ta- Tahana, I think that's what's pronounced. Hope I pronounced it better now. Tahana. Everyone talks about that match. When they approach me, they are like, dude, I remember when you were doing this with Tornado Negro. You, and you came in here and you tore the house down in front of 6,000 people. So those are two really cool moments in my career that actually stick out to me. And what do you think about Cal, Cowatry's wrestling this lucha libre version of Hulk Hogan and becoming the star that everybody knows in Mexico? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. We're gonna move on to the next news now. It's hmm. Okay, we got Alan Angel's news now is he's very happy with his progress. One one in Eddie Guerrero path in wrestling. Excuse me. According to this article from WrestleZone, Alan Angels is where he wants to be in his pro wrestling career. WrestleZone managing editor Bill Pritchard spoke with Alan Angels ahead of Bound for Glory, a, Bound for Glory weekend in Chicago. Chicago Angels is scheduled to compete against Samurai del Sol at Impact BFG Fallout event tapings on Saturday night, or that's Sunday night. My apologies. But anyways, Angels got a chance to share the ring with him in a six-way match at Impact 1000, and he's excited about the chance for another big stage. Samurai is a Samurai is a great competitor. He's awesome. He's awesome. I guess a little bit of a chance to get in the ring with him into the Ultimate X that Alan Angels mentioned. I a match on the 1000th episode of Impact. So I got a little bit of a taste, but I'm super excited to have a one-on-one match with him. It should be really fun. He's a great competitor. I remember he wrestled and tapped a lot with my trainer. When I first started, AR Fox, they it started like AR Fox. They did a lot of stuff together. So there's a guy that I watched like a lot, especially when I was first starting. So it's cool. I get to actually have that one-on-one match with him on a big stage, like the Bound for Glory Fallout show, like the big Bound for Glory Fallout show. Like I'm really excited for it. Chicago Bound at this time, Angels like does not does not have a match on the Bound for Glory pay-per-view card. He's been a regular in the X division this year, but he hopes he gets the call for another match on the pay-per-view. And when do you think that Alan Angels is gonna who's gonna face that Bound for Glory? And also, what do you what do you think about his journey in Impact Wrestling and in his career in pro wrestling? Like, and he said he's been in with the lots like with wrestlers in the past that's now in AEW or that's on Impact Wrestling or that's currently in WWE. He mentioned as well. But yeah, I'm not sure who he could possibly face. I don't really watch Impact Wrestling like I do anymore, but I'm thinking about uh, checking out the returning TNA initials into Impact Wrestling, like as soon as they return at the beginning of 2024. Like, which I'll say they're on Access TV, but I cannot find it on YouTube TV. But it looks like I'm gonna have to get either the Access TV streaming platform or even Impact's streaming platform, Impact TV, to see if to see what how the Impact Wrestling product is at the returning TNA, and can they be just as competitive than WWE and AEW. Only time will tell. We got like a couple months away for 2024 to be here, and I hope I didn't say 2021, 2024. But yeah, y'all let me know in the comments down below on what do you think what's gonna happen on Impact Wrestling in the foreseeable future in the upcoming couple of months. We're going to move on to the next wrestling news now. Which is Jack Dane saying I'm Jax of all trades, and saying welcome Blake True. Yeah, you know what? I think we can skip this out. No, yeah, we're going. Okay, we got some more interesting news now. It's the Acclaim, and it says right here, the Acclaim announced as DLC for AEW Fight Forever. Like they said, that everyone loves the Acclaim, and now everyone can play as them in AEW Fight Forever starting next week. Like AEW game took to social media this morning to announce the first content for season 2 of AEW Fight Forever. Like will be released next week with the Acclaim and the new stage of Dynamite. This DLC package will be released on November 22nd for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. The DLC will be released on Nintendo Switch at the later date. That has yet to be announced. The cost of the content and the season pass in general hasn't been revealed as of this writing. Beyond this announcement, nothing else has been specifically officially revealed for first season 2 of AEW Fight Forever. However, the data miners has discovered Tony Storm in new game mode title Beat the Elite will also be arriving at some point in the season 2, or in the second season, I should say. Stay tuned to WrestleZone for more information on season 2 of AEW Fight Forever when it comes available. And what do you think about the Acclaim being going to be playable characters in the DLC pack, along with Tony Storm and beat the Elite and arriving at be in the Elite, not arriving, my bad. Like and also Tony Storm and beat the Elite mode will be coming to AEW as soon as this month. I mean, not this month. As soon as next month in December, which is a couple of days, if not the same day when the Iron Claw comes out, because it's gonna be released onto Xbox, PC, and PlayStation by December 22nd. Which that's the same day as the Iron Claw movie be out. And will y'all go to y'all's video game console, whether if it's y'all's PC or PCs or PlayStation, whether if it's the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 version, or the Xbox One or the Xbox Series X, just like Super Ninja Austin me has I have a copy of on AEW Fight Forever, and yeah. And are you very pumped and excited for this? I know I am. And I'm still trying to collect some dough to get the DLC pack with FTR and Danhausen and Hook as well, which I'm as soon as I get the dough, I'm gonna get the DLC content of Dan of them and along with the Acclaim, because yeah, they are the most entertaining tag team in AEW right now, the most hilariously entertaining tag team in my opinion, which I believe that's everybody's opinion, especially when they use the scissoring shtick, like saying "scissor me." But yeah, y'all let me know right down in the comments section right down below. We're gonna move on to the next wrestling news now. Is we got some Ariana Grace news now. She recalls her injury at the WWE Performance Center. Ariana Grace recently returned to NXT after suffering a very serious knee injury. WWE NXT superstar Ariana Grace was recent guest on Wild on Wild on where when asked about suffering her knee injury, Grace revealed it happened in a freak accident during a lockup at the Performance Center. She said, "I definitely remember that day very clearly." Ariana Grace began. We were in training and it was funny. It was just like another practice match at the PC. And it was off of a lockup. It it was just a lockup. I went forward. The girl turned and it was just like two different momentum and it snapped. And I felt like a big pop, but it didn't hurt. And then I tried to get up, and I was like, "Damn, I can't finish the match. I can't finish this match." I was so embarrassed because at the time I didn't think it would be as serious as it was, and I was like every And I was and I was like, everyone's gonna think I'm a chicken. I I should have finished the match. Grace recalled hoping the injury was at least a sprain, so people in the performance center wouldn't think people in the performance center think she was a wuss. The news she got was much worse than she anticipated. It it is iconic, or not ironic, not iconic. I must be seeing the C at the end too much to call it iconic. But anyways, it says it is ironic looking back now. That's what she what Ariana Grace said on the interview. She also says she also says I'm like, at least let it be like a little bit sprained, at least so no one thinks I'm a wuss, Ariana Grace continued. Then I got the call and was it was like torn ACL, torn meniscus, sprained MCL. And oh my God, yeah, did the we did the thing. We we really did it. So yeah, after after that, like I mean, what can you do? Like you really only have one option. It's literally surgery, rehab, and move on. So I just had to do what I had to do. but yeah, and yeah, Ariana Grace made her recent return like about a month ago, and she even participated in the tournament, like filling in for Jakar Jackson to take on I believe was like with the Jakarta Jackson, and she only got so far until the semifinals where she lost to Kalani Jordan. But yeah, and she recently wrestled Gigi Dolan in a match for the I mean in a match right after she was arguing with her backstage when she was agreeing with Kiana James of taking out Roxanne Perez, which yeah, what's her name? Gigi Dolan shamed her for doing, which half of the women in the roster actually took up for Kiana James for doing that because they noticed that Roxanne Perez was getting more of the opportunities in NXT, but I don't think she's getting too many opportunities. She would be NXT Women's Championship, but she'll be keeping that title hostage and keeping the women's wrestlers from even fighting for that title, even women's wrestlers from the main roster, like from the likes of Becky Lynch and Xia Li, for an example. She would be preventing them from even getting shots, and even Tiffany Stratton and even Lyra Valkyria. So I don't think that's the truth, but that's what at least the heel women's wrestlers side thinks that's the case. And what do you think? What do you think? And like the WrestleZone also said, like, are you happy that she recovered and she's no longer injured, and we can see plenty of more entertaining moments from the second generation star? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And what you thought about this very insanely frightening news about she has a torn ACL and sprained MCL and even a torn meniscus? Yeah, sound off in the comments. I'm glad she recovered from all that pain that painful like injury that painful like injury situation. But we're gonna move on to the next news now, and it is Chris Jericho news. Is American wrestling is somewhere in the middle of Mexico and Japan. And according to this news article, it says Chris Jericho has competed inside the squared circle all over the world and has adapted to several style throughout his career. All Elite Wrestling's Chris Jericho and Soraya were recently guests on uh, First We Feast. The First We Feast podcast, I should say, my bad, was the guest on the First We Feast podcast while discussing different wrestling styles worldwide. Jericho believes United States wrestling sits somewhere between the styles of Mexico and Japan, which I kind of agree with him in a way. Like I just don't know why, but I just agree. I just agree with Jericho saying. Like it makes sense because like it could like American wrestling have their own style, but it looks like when they like for AEW example, like when they're partnering with AAA, like in New Japan Pro Wrestling, like they have their different kind of like style, they even allow it on their company, and they show the differences on how they like how Japanese wrestlers do it and Mexican wrestlers do their style in the squared circle and lucha libre traditional style, and then AEW have their own wrestling like style of wrestling, which is mostly like indie style, like with the wrestlers having their independent wrestling style background, like they use it in is their talent into the all elite wrestling ring. And same with like with wrestlers from Japan, like whether if it's a Konosuke Takeshita or a Hiroshi Tanahashi that's doing a crossover event with AEW along with him, Kazuchika Okada, and then and even even AAA wrestlers like Mystico and Vikingo and Commander, like they came from AAA, and even also the Lucha Brothers too. Like they have their Lucha Libres. They're insane. I would say perhaps they're insane and impressively amazing style in the squared circle, like doing some overtly insane high flying wrestling maneuvers. I'd say, if to say the least, like insane and incredibly crazy style in the squared circle. Yeah, but yeah, what do you think about? And also I'm gonna get to that. I'm getting to this getting there. Like continue to talk about what Jericho had to say onto this interview. He said, "I spent a lot of time in Japan and the UK, and there's so many different wrestling styles. That's different, and depending on what country you're in around the world." Chris Jericho said, like UK has always seems to be a little bit more technical. We're seeing a little bit more technical, whereas Mexico is very cartoon based, but because they're wearing the luchador mask, I'll say I kind of agree with them on that. Like they wear more mask like in their own luchador wrestling gear, and sometimes wear capes like me. Except I'm not wearing a lucha mask though. I'm just the super ninja assassin. That's the journalist on YouTube, a starting journalist like that's been doing this for 3 months of doing wrestling news. But anyways, yeah, they're more cartoony, and they even have like fictional like a little fictional persona and the fictional story on that's probably based mixed to their real life story of their livelihood, of course. I'll say sometimes uh, luchadors have their own way of like having their version of their gimmick and their story and their backstory, their origin backstory, I should say. Yeah, like what's the reason why they're this particular luchador character? Like the best way to explain on what exactly why they're luchadors for, and like the luchadors and why I should say, which is which they have their own stories and different stories to be the exact, whether if it's fully true or partially true or just made up just to have a interesting wrestling character, yeah, as a luchador. But anyways, and also he said there is they kind of like real life superheroes, and Jericho also said about the luchadors, they're like real life superheroes, like dressing up in their gear and their mask. And then Japan is much more fighting spirit, like strong style, and but the but the sugar honey iced tea out of each other, beating the absolute sugar honey iced tea out of each other. And I found like American wrestling is somewhere in the middle of Mexico and Japan. What do you But yeah, what do you make about the differences between American pro wrestling and lucha libre style Mexican pro wrestling and even Japanese style pro wrestling? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And I think there's plenty because there's more of a I think that there's more combat. They're more combat in new and like in Japanese style wrestling, while lucha more like about high flying risk and being more like superheroes and dressing up in lucha mask and ring gear like like with the stylish of colored pants, like most of it with the Mexican flag color with the red and the white and the green, yeah. And the golden as well with the golden eagle or griffin, I believe. I think no, it's an eagle. I think it's the golden eagle, like which represents the Mexican heritage. But yeah, what do y'all think about the Jericho's comparisons of the differences of the three country styles of wrestling? And in American, mostly like indie style or WWE to call it the sports entertainment, but talking about like outside the company, I would say more like an indie style of wrestling, most likely in America. Like with them, they hitting high flying moves, but it's more like in Americans kind of do it, like with high flyers uh, or even there's what's that like brawling like heavy hitting brawling kind of wrestling like something like the Brawling Brutes, like Ridge Holland and Butch would do, even though they're British, and 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 even Sheamus is Irish as well, and then like Kevin Owens is the prize fighter, but he's more of like he's from Canada rather than America, but he's very popular in America. Like so, I wouldn't say much about him being like I can per se being an American wrestler, but like he's a pro wrestler in America, but he's a Canadian pro wrestler that's wrestling in America. But yeah, I'm saying like they fight like more like here, like they just basically doing like some brawling, heavy hitting level hits into the match, if you know what I mean. But I want y'all to decide on what y'all think about Jericho's comparisons in the comments below about his time of being a pro wrestler all around the world and from the past 30 years as a professional wrestler. But anyway, we're gonna move on to the next wrestling news now as we got some Brian Cage's pumped out babies like a machine welcomes new sons with Melissa Santos. And it says right here, according to this article, Brian Cage recently had huge reason to celebrate outside of the wrestling realism. The Machine recently took to Twitter to announce that he and his partner, pro wrestling announcer Melissa Santos, has given birth to another child. Like Brian Cage also stated that he's happy to once again be a father to a newborn baby. Pumping out babies, like a effing like an FN machine, I should say, which I jokingly say FN because it says right there like it says F and M, we obviously know it stands for like saying the F bomb, using the F bomb, but being less profanity about the matter. But anyways, like an effing machine, and glad to give back. Glad to give the B back. I'm looking at give still. My apologies. Glad to be back into newborn fatherhood. Actually, like like Melissa Santos was the real machine this time. Now it's time to go streets of cage and rage. Streets of Cage / Rage tomorrow. In my match, old stomping grounds on Ontario, like Ontario on AEW's Like a Dragon Street Fight. Brian Cage tweeted, and then he said, and it says right here, WrestleZone congratulated Brian Cage and his wife at this very celebrating time, I should say. If I'm not sure if that make any sense to call it that, I'll say at this very happy time for the couple. I'll say, and I want to give my huge congratulations myself, courtesy to the SNA podcast, by your host Super Ninja Austin to give you a thunderous congratulations for you and your wife Brian Cage of bringing in a new little fella into this world. Like, and hopefully he will be in the wrestling industry just like his father. And I believe it is, and just like his mother too, but most likely his father, like probably stepping into the squared circle is the big man, like slamming his opponents into the canvas in the future. Like, hopefully that will be the future of the child, but that's only if he wants to be into this industry. But anyways, yeah, I want to give you the huge congratulations, and let me know in the comments what you think about the about the newborn baby of Brian Cage, like as him being into the fatherhood now. Like, but anyway, we're gonna move on to the. Oh yeah, before I do move on, I need to before I move on, I need to show you the post where Brian Cage tweeted on Twitter /X. It looks like it, it looked like it's been somehow deleted off this article. Like, I won't say deleted, I would say removed from the article. Like the images of Brian Cage showed on Twitter. But anyways, we got some focal WWE Stone Cold news now. As he light up entrance stage limited bobblehead, like he went a bobblehead up for pre-order photo as this week's focal, aka former co- collectible collectibles, I should say, former collectibles revealed another new limited WWE comp, commemorative commemorative bobblehead available now up to pre-order feature like featuring the Texas Rattlesnake Stone Cold Steve Austin, like up top light up entrance, like light up entrance stage. What of a what I should say, top right entrance stage of what, like Stone Cold lights up entrance, like stage bobblehead. It features Stone Cold in an action figure pose atop of light up stage based the base lights up in multiple places, including the racks on the side and the and the from the front of the base. He's wearing his signature black Austin 316 t-shirt with his jeans, and in his jeans, his logo is displayed on the front of the base with pictures of him and the WWE logo on the back of the bobblehead. The bobblehead is limited to 223 units, retails for $90, and stands at 8 in tall. Stands at 8 inch. I should say stands up at 8 inch tall. He is expected to ship. He is expected to ship May of 2024. You can order him here, which is there's the little 8 inch bobblehead of Austin 316 as he lights up his entrance. Like, I hope they also comes with a theme song of like doom doom doom, but he comes with the with the stage entrance like of the action figure, and then it lights up like if he's making his entrance. Hopefully, like if he's making his entrance, hopefully it comes with the theme music, like his iconic theme music, like with the glass the glass shattering sound entrance, like doom, 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 doom. And what do you think about this bobbleheads are about to be shipped off in May of 2024? Are you gonna pre-order your copies now? Or are you gonna wait until May, or are you not really much of a bobblehead person? Sound off in the comments section right down below. If I have the extra pocket cash to order that, I would gladly get the bobblehead. But for now, I would say I'm not really much of collecting bobbleheads at the moment. I probably will collect bobbleheads alongside of collecting action figures, because I really want to collect action figures again, and even replica championships, which I'm probably going to make videos about that and content about like unboxing, like my boy WWE Fan Talk Show, Tanner and Nathan, the stage creator, does. Like they do some unboxing action figures, and even review them. Like also like what they think about about the uh, the materials that they were made off by from the cre- from the creators of the from the creators that made the action figures, from WWE's action figure creators, or from like when they like where they ordered them from WWEshop.com and Ringside Collectibles. And same with AEW, like, and they gave up their opinions, like on how they made their arms and legs, like whatever materials they used, or making the action figures genuinely, and seeing if they like it or not. Most likely they do like it, and they give like the rankings on what was the number one action figure of the unboxing, which I'm gonna be thinking about doing that on my future content of unboxing action figures, like like with AEW figures and WWE figures, like going to Ringside Collectibles, AEW Shop, and WWEshop.com, which I kind of started my little uh, online my little online shopping account for both AEW and WWE, because that's where I got my shirt from, and also I got my head of the table shirt, which I wore a few times on this video before, my Roman Reigns shirt from WWE. So I want to continue having that account with them, and also have starting a customer account with Ringside Collectibles, and I and I I can start ordering action figures from them, and I can start doing the review. But until then, I'm gonna be doing the SNA podcast, and the doing the SNA podcast with wrestling news reviews, and even the wrestling show reviews like WWE and AEW in the meantime. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about the Stone Cold bobblehead in the comment section right down below, and let me know if you're gonna pre-order it or order it when it release in May of 2024. 2024, like, or not, like whenever that's on your mind. I would love to hear that. We're gonna move on to the next. We're gonna move on to the next news now. Is Jake Roberts' feud with Randy Savage? Like, is Jake Roberts' feud with Randy Savage ended abruptly, abruptly because Miss Elizabeth's parents were furious. And it says, well, according to this WrestleZone article, Jake Roberts is one of the most unique and talented wrestlers in all times. He is a WWE Hall of Famer as well, despite being a popular figure back in his day. Back in the day, I should say, he had never held a championship in the Stanford-based promotion. Another opportunity that he never got. He got was to compete in the main event of the greatest stage of them all, which is WrestleMania. Like, of course, he competed on the event on handle of a hand of on a handful of occasions. Recently, the WWE Hall of Famer was interviewed by Steve Fall of WrestlingNews.co. During the interview, Jake Roberts shared the real reason why he never got the opportunity to be part of the main event of WrestleMania. He said, he mentioned that one of the main reasons, was that the promotion needed to end his storyline with Randy Savage abruptly because Savage in law were not his in-laws like Savage's in-laws were not that happy, I should say. He said, "Well, if I had done that, I'd still be at the company, and they pulled a rug on pulled pulled the rug on that one too. I pull that rug off on one too. It just really, uh, it just really, effing frustrate me. Just really, it just really, like, effing frustrated me. Like, like, really frustrated me. Really, really. Not really. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Randy get was getting Randy was getting too much heat at home from his in-laws. They were going effing psychotic over what I did to Elizabeth, so they had to the kibosh they had to kibosh that thing and get it off the air. Great, huh? Jake Roberts said onto this podcast. Sorry if that was a little. Sorry that was a little slow of reading, but I was trying to understand what exactly Jake Roberts meant by that. And also, I said it not like going straight ahead and smooth into this complete sentence, but anyway, like, I got that out of the way, I suppose. But Jake Roberts also mentioned that. Dang it. Excuse me. Oh, there it is. Is that Roberts also mentioned that he was never the type of person to kiss ass his way to the top. He said, "I wasn't doing the same. I don't play that game. Probably one of my biggest mistakes was not being a part of office, the office. Not going to not going in and, and, hop, and hobnobbing and kissing ass and sucking blanks, like, or whatever. You got to you got to do. I'm not sure about the second one. Like aftermath, I'm not sure about the second one though. Like aftermath, Jake Roberts once said that Elizabeth's parents had such a problem with the singles, not the singles, the angle. I mean, worry about the angle that they banned Savage from their home. The the program ended on TV in February 1992. Ended in February 1992, but Roberts and Savage continued to wrestle on WWE live events. Right, Roberts said Savage worked a more aggressive and violent style in an effort to get revenge. To get revenge. Excuse me, on Roberts for slapping Elizabeth. But anyways, like Savage went on to feud with Ric Flair at WrestleMania. At WrestleMania 8, I believe. Roberts, worked a program with The Undertaker. And what do you thought about this? What you thought about this review with the with the with the Snake Master, or should I say Jake the Snake Roberts? I'll say mostly just stick traditionally as Jake the Snake Roberts. But what you thought about this reveal about him nearly main eventing WrestleMania if it hadn't been for Macho Man Randy Savage's in-laws, uh, which is Miss Elizabeth's parents of course, about banning him in their house and complaining to him and and having them finish this story with as soon as possible with Jake Roberts getting the comeuppance, which that was probably was very it was a little bit too much from the Miss Elizabeth's parents, like for making for it gets very I'll say it's very bit too much, like of making WWE of revisiting that feud like in that soon manner. Uh, I go back to that feud and finish them off at the beginning of 1992, which they said it was February of that year. But yeah, I think that was a little bit too much, and Miss Elizabeth's parents took it a little bit too far of taking the angle way too seriously, even though it was very harsh and too harsh. But then again, it's wrestling. It's supposed to be a little too harsh. Like it's not no ballet or no it's no ballet or no I'll say ballet or name a harmless activity. I'll say it's not ballet, like it's wrestling. You're gonna expect some hard hitting moments. Like I said before, and I'll say it again. And and it should be like what the promoters pitch in for ideas for the wrestlers to do when they're in the square circle when it comes to segments and matches, and let them do their job and let the baby faces get their comeuppance, whether if it's sooner or later. That's what their job's supposed to do. I mean, they're going to give the heels their comeuppance and get their retribution onto them. Like, just lead it to the wrestlers and the promoters booking and pitching that idea of how the baby face is going to come back and get their revenge onto the heels. But yeah, think about what could have been if that didn't happen with that incident with Miss Elizabeth's parents didn't ban 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 the Macho Man Randy Savage for what he let Jake the Snake Roberts did to her onto the show. Y'all let me know down in the comments below, and what you thought. If what do you think? What do you think about Jake Roberts possibly main event in WrestleMania? Like, do you think what would have happened if this didn't occurred, or do you think he still wouldn't have, even if it didn't? Y'all let me know down in the comments right down below. We're gonna move on to the next news now. As it's some reports about Mickie James taking a break from Impact Wrestling. And according to this WrestleZone news article, Mickie James is no longer listed on Impact Wrestling's roster on the no longer listed on the Impact Wrestling's roster on the company's official website. A new report shines some light on the situation throughout Mickie James's time with Impact. She she has always been a free agent, as reported by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful via Fightful Select. Mike Johnson of PW Insider reports that per Impact sources, Mickie James is taking a break from the company. Johnson wrote that sources indicated that the relationship between the two sides remains fine and she could return at any time. James missed several months of 2023 with an injury, but she returned at Impact 1000 in September. She successfully challenged Trinity. I'm telling myself Trinity, not Trinity and Trilogy put together, but challenged Trinity for the Impact Knockouts World Championship at Impact Bound for Glory on October 21st. That's a unsuccessfully challenged. My apologies as well. On top of that, on October 21st, and she has not wrestled since she is a five-time Knockouts champion with Impact slash TNA. James is also a five-time WWE Women's Champion. Among her along a call among other accolades. That's what I'm trying to tongue tied to pronounce. But what do you think about Mickie James is taking a long break with the Impact promotion? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. I was like, maybe this is a good thing so she can take a break in wrestling in general, and whenever she wants to have another run with Impact or any other wrestling promotion, perhaps AEW, she can. She just need to have her body and her mindset well rested and get back into the squared circle and finish what she was continuing to do from the past 17 years into the industry. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next wrestling news now, and it's moving on. We got some elite. We got some Alicia. Okay, I'm gonna talk about this because of MJF, and I'm gonna be a little more PG of saying this, like, because it's saying some words that's kind of inappropriate. But I'm still gonna bear by analyzing this, and it's some news about MJF's new girlfriend, Alicia out. I Alicia out. I mean, Atal, 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 Atoft. Alicia Atal. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. Atal, like Bosom McGee. Bosom McGee is incredibly happy to like Bosom McGee is incredibly happy. The announcement is real. Uh, oh, this is somebody's name, Tits McGee. Yeah, Tits McGee has found love in, and she is, and she, and she is happy. Alicia Atal, 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 like recently confirmed that AEW World Champion MJF is her boyfriend. The news sparked some controversy as Atal had seemingly been in a relationship with Richard Holiday, the AEW star's stablemate and former partner in the Dynasty, or that's like the Dynasty said, or that's what fans were led to believe. A tout, a tout took to Twitter to clear the air as she stated that her relationship announcement is real, referring to herself as Bosom McGee, I guess I should call her. MJF's on air nickname for her. She said she is incredible. She is incredibly happy as for the past for the past. A tout a tout stated that she and Richard she and Richard holiday workout or worked under the holiday worked the ever living sugar honey iced tea out of everyone. In other news, it the self proclaimed generational talent once said he is a man, so his yeah, I'll say adult website. It's also about being and being on an adult entertainment website. But yeah, that's in another news article. Luckily, we're not going to be talking about that on today's wrestling news video. But I'm going to talk about fans will see the reigning defending AEW World Championship on the November 15th episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, but yeah, that's that's a story on another news article that's on WrestleZone as well. But here's a tweet that she tweeted that she confirms her relationship with the Salt of the Earth from Alicia Atout. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to look at this, and if you need more time, I recommend you guys to pause this video to to talk to look at the full tweet and to on Twitter, and then on the bottom caption she has it being having the clown face emojis in the process. And what do you think about Alicia Atal, the former announcer for AEW, in an actual relationship with the Salt of the Earth, current slash AEW World Champion MJF? Sound off in the comment section right down below. When I heard about the news about her being in a recent relationship with MJF, I figured it was true because MJF posted it on his social media page that when he was laying in bed with her, like, and confirmed things like it seemed like it was way more than a one night stand, and they were in a serious relationship. and I'm very happy for the two in this. And I'm very happy for the two that they found love with one another, and hopefully there's many more to come with these two latest wrestling couples into the industry of the world of professional wrestling. We're gonna move on to some Trinity Fatu news now, as she is training, or I mean not training. I mean she's thankful for the chance to show who she is without lim- limitations in Impact Wrestling. And it says ever since she left WWE, the wrestling world was wondering if Trinity, formerly known as Naomi, would return to the squared circle. She surprised fans when she popped on the Impact Zone. Since then, she has been able to capture the Knockouts Women's Championship and and also has successfully defended it on multiple occasions, especially recently at Bound for Glory when she defended it against Mickey James. I heard about the results and even mentioned it onto the wrestling news. I forget which article, what it was, which one was. I need to go back and watch one of my last videos of the SNA podcast to talk about talk about talk like when I talked about like Trinity beat Mickey James in the Knockouts Championship match recently. But anyways, recently the reigning Knockouts Women's Champion was interviewed by Denise Soledo, which we talked about that onto the women's the latest news about the women's division on three of the companies of AEW, Impact Wrestling, and WWE. What we're going to talk about that, like during the interview, Trinity shared experience competing in Impact Wrestling. She mentioned that she is thankful for the company giving her the opportunity. She showcased all her talents. She said, "I definitely think that the type of matches that I have been in that I've never experienced before. Also, getting more time, main eventing shows. It's not easy. It's not easy, but I also feel that that's what I needed to grow and also to believe in myself and to be put in those positions to prove to myself and everyone that I'm capable, and I'm very thankful for Impact for giving me that space and opportunity to just show who I am without a limitation, Trinity said. While speaking in the same interview, the former WWE superstar shared that despite winning the Knockouts Women's Championship, she still is growing and trying to evolve. And this is what she also said right here. She's like, "Oh, absolutely," and I still think I'm growing and evolving, and I don't know. And I don't think this is the last evolution of me that we'll see. And I think that time, like that time away and that time off really helped me to navigate and figure out that really wanted and what I needed to do for myself and just as a performer and the impact I wanted to have on women's wrestling. I was able to really think about all those things and process it all and really miss it. I I just think I got to the point to a point where I become so burnt out mentally, physically, emotionally, everything, and I really thought that was it. But having that time away really helped me to just see clearly that I wasn't done. And there's more and more of me to give in the wrestling business and to my fans. And yeah, I just come back and finish in a way that I feel is really respectable and good for me. It didn't feel right to me. You like stopping where I was, it just wasn't sitting right in my spirit. So it motivated me to come back, and I'm here, and I'm so happy that I did. But I also, and also, I'm happy for that experience. And do you think that she's gonna recently? I mean, not recently. I mean, not say recently. I mean, and do you think Trinity Fatu is gonna retain her Impact Knockouts Championship in the upcoming pay per view against Jordine Grace, I should say? And also, like, yeah, she recently walked out of WWE with Sasha Banks when they dropped their women's title because of their creative differences, and also she haven't been seen since until seen in the wrestling world until in the May of this year, I believe, when she made her Impact debut and even capturing the Impact Knockouts Women's Championship, which she still is to this day. And yeah, like I said about will she defend the championship? I'm gonna let y'all decide about because up in her next defense she will be facing Jordine Grace because I believe she she won the number one contenders match recently, like Jordine Grace, to earn herself a Knockouts Women's Championship, soon to be the returning TNA Women's Knockouts Championship. But, but yeah, like, and I hope for Trinity to better, and I hope she does retains the championship and remains the number one women's star in Impact Wrestling. But anyways, in her career in Impact Wrestling, but we're gonna move on to the next. And up next, we got some Gunther news now as claims of Ultimate Warrior. Like, we got some, Gunther news about it claims the Ultimate Warrior is not a professional wrestler. He shows like, he's a showman. I should say. My apologies for the tongue tie. Like, he's a showman. And he's like, any wrestling fan who had been following the wrestling business for the last 5 decades would claim to either be a fan of Hollywood Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior, but both set both sets of fans would call the latter one of the top professional wrestlers of all time. He called the latter one of the top professional wrestlers of all time. But it seems like the current WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther is not a big fan of the Hall of Famer. Speaking to the leader of, the leader of Imperium has been. I should say this first. The leader of Imperium has been one of the best champions in WWE throughout his run in the Stanford-based promotion during his run as NXT and was the longest reigning NXT UK champion. He held the title for over 2 years, adding to it, unlike Roman Reigns, he constantly defended his title as well. He dropped the title to the Mad Dragon Ilya Dragunov back in 2021 after being called up to the main Raw, and then a few months later after that, like after being called up to the main roster in a short span, he managed to capture the Intercontinental Championship. Since then, he has been a dominant champion. He recently surpassed the Honky Tonk Man's record, becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history. Being the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship of all time. During a recent episode of WWE's The Bump this morning, the ring general shared his honest thoughts about the Ultimate Warrior. He claims that it was one of the dark ages of professional wrestling. Like, and this is what Gunther had to say about the Hall of Famer onto the interview on the Bump, saying that's one of the real dark ages. At one point, look at that. Gunther also claimed that the Hall of Famer was neither a real athlete nor a professional wrestler, saying, "No, he's not. He's a showman. He's not an athlete, not a professional wrestler. He's a showman." So now everyone knows why I have to be the one to keep his title for the longest time in in, in history to wash its reputation clean and set it to a new standard because new standard because Gunther said. But do you agree with Gunther's claims on this interview of the Bump this morning? Like, is he is the Ultimate Warrior a showman, or do you disagree with Gunther and he really was a professional wrestler? Sound off in the comments section down below, which I'm not sure what to say. I think he was both in many ways, like a mixture of a showman, especially with his warrior character. With him especially when he hits that gorilla press face flapjack slam when he slams him right off in the air and tossed him his opponent right behind him. Big warrior slam. And then he was also in the same Gunther, and then similar to Gunther, he was Intercontinental Champion, but he managed the main event at the championship at WrestleMania in a title winner takes all match against Hulk Hogan for the WWF title, which he won that championship too while he was the reigning defending Intercontinental Champion. But Gunther beat his record of the longest reigning champion, along with the Honky Tonk Man and many other Intercontinental champions in WWE history combined. Well, I would say not like the whole entire reign of each one, but every one individually, of course. Like before I get criticized in the comments down below, I want to make sure I clarify that part, but. I would say I agree with one thing of Gunther saying he's a showman, but I do not agree with him on the fact of saying he wasn't a wrestler. I'll say, yeah, he may have not been like a legitimate athlete, but he was a very entertaining showman / wrestler. Like, which that's what his job was. He was supposed to entertain his fans of him going out there running in the ring, shaking the ropes like if he was like shaking the ropes like before Batista and them ever done it, and also give fans a show, and then he was one of the rarest guys that Hulk Hogan. He was one of the rarest guys that Hulk Hogan put over in WrestleMania history, in the history of WWE. But yeah, y'all let me know straight down in the comment section right down below on what you think about Gunther's opinion about the Ultimate Warrior, like if you agree with him or not. But anyways, let's move on to the next. And it's the announcement of and we're gonna end this video with some Kurt Angle news now. Is with Kurt Angle on turning down 2006 offer from UFC because they weren't letting him work for TNA. And according to this wrestling news article from WrestleZone, we got some Kurt Angle news now as he recounts some of his prior business interaction with the UFC. This, like, following his gold medal win performance in the 1996 Olympics, Kurt Angle was approached by the Ultimate Fighting Championship, which stands for UFC, of course, about potentially bringing him on board to their company during a recent interview with True Geordie. Angle on the on the True Geordie podcast, Angle divulge, I should say, my bad, divulge the details of the deal that was presented to him by UFC during that time. He said, they contacted me in 96 right after the Olympics as well. Back then, Dana White wasn't any part of it. I think the Gracie's owner, the Gracie's own not owner, the Gracie's owned it. They offered me 10 fights deal for $150,000. That's like pretty much $15,000 a fight. That didn't sound like a lot of money to me. Angle said, back then it was a lot for the UFC because those guys were only getting $5,000 for a fight. If they won the whole tournament, they got $50,000. The contract wasn't so bad from the UFC standpoint back then, but what it is now today, these guys are getting $16 to $18 million a fight on pay-per-view now. Ultimately, Angle passed on the UFC in UFC's initial offer. This has opened the door for him to officially enter the professional wrestling world, specifically WWE. Two years later, after six and a half years in the WWE, in the 6.5 years in the WWE system, Angle parted ways, thus becoming a free agent in 2006. During this time frame, Angle began exploring other options in the professional wrestling world. The while also circling back to UFC, which was then run by Dana White, and UFC's second offer, and the second offer, the Kurt Angle, and this is what Kurt Angle had to say onto the interview about the second offer as well. Like, I went to Dana White in 2006 and I said, "Hey, I'm ready." He's like, "Okay, this is what we're going to do." He offered me a deal. He wanted me to be on Ultimate Fighter with with Kim with Kimbo Slice, Kimbo Slice, Kimbo Slice. Like, Angle recounted, and then he said, I said, Dana, those guys don't get paid to be on the show. He said, "Don't worry, I'll pay you a substantial amount of money just to be on it, just to be on it, I'll be on it. I'll take care of you." Like he said, listen, whether you win or not, I'll give you a six fight deal. I I said, "Well, that sounds fair." And he also said this, like, "So I was getting ready to do it, and I ended up signing with TNA Wrestling a a week prior. I thought that I could do both, which was crazy and it was stupid. TNA was gonna give me a part-time contract, so I figured I could train UFC as well. I told Dana I just signed with TNA, and I do both. I'll do both." He said, "No, you no, you can't." He said, "No, you." And he said, "No, you can't do both." I said, "Well, Dana, I have to respect this contract I have with TNA." He's like, "I'll come back to you if my contract expires in a decent amount of time, and I'm still at an age that you want me." And he's like, "I want me. I'll come back to you." Like, having already committed to TNA Wrestling, Angle opted to fully de- uh, 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 de- uh, well, was dedicating de was was that dedicate full. I opted to dedicating himself to them, and he said, "I had to pass on UFC because they wouldn't allow me to do both, and I just signed with TNA." Angle said, I didn't want to tell TNA, like, listen, I'm not coming. I'm not coming. I'm gonna go with the UFC because I just signed the deal." That's what he said. But yeah, Kurt Angle been on TNA for like a good decade until soon after he left there and went back to WWE, becoming general manager on the Raw brand in the process for like a good 2 years until he retired in 2019. And and took on Baron Corbin in his last ever match, which Baron Corbin lost. Some say it was very unnecessary to do this match when he could have ended his career with someone like John Cena or even The Undertaker of having his last match in 2019. But what you thought about the story that Kurt Angle told into this interview, like with him, he nearly signed with UFC in 2006, but 10 years prior, before Dana White owned it, and it was with the Gracies, I believe that's what their name, not Gracies, at the time in 1996, they were owned by, yeah, I'm right, the Gracies, yeah, I'm right. I don't know how I remember that. I don't know how I remembered that name, but anyways, they were owned by the Gracies by the UFC, and they offered him a deal to work with them in 1996 after he just got done with the Olympics and with the Olympics and won the gold medal from them, but he turned them down because he was only going to basically get paid $15,000 a fight, like because they offered like 10 fights for for $150,000 combined, which that when you add it up for a match, like that's basically $15 a fight, which he did not want to do that. He wanted to do something that's like more than that, and he knew he was worth a little more than that. So he waited. He waited to join in UFC and stick with wrestling. Except he turned into amateur wrestling, into professional wrestling. And like a couple years later, he finally signed with a wrestling company, which was at the end of 1999 with WWE, which he stayed with them for like 6.5 years until he got released by the company because he wouldn't go to rehab for at least a year, which Vince McMahon wanted him to go to rehab because he was addicted to painkiller pills, and they did not look like a good look for WWE. They keep taking painkillers, and making him addicted to them, which he was. He was starting to be like a pain-killing addict, of course. But luckily he had to go to rehab regardless, because TNA wanted him to go there if he wanted to be signed with them at least part-time with the company. But I think at first he was part-time, but he turned into full-time because he's starting to make more appearances with the promotion back in that time, like when he joined TNA at the time, which they're going back as TNA. But anyways, he tried to go to UFC as well, but Dana White said, "We'll gladly have you sign in," and it was admitted that some of the guys that were going to be on that show that was in the lower card was not really getting paid. And then Dana White's like, "Don't worry, like I'll have you covered. I'll pay you on every all the 6 matches you're going to be fighting and participating in." But as soon as he got the deal, he signed with TNA, like at that time. And then when he let Dana White know that, and he said, "I could do both. Like I could do wrestling part-time, and then and then half of my time I can do the UFC fights." And this is where Dana White was telling him, like, you cannot do both. Like, if you're going to do TNA, you cannot do UFC. Like, so it's either my company or TNA, which he decided to do TNA because it looked like he was going to get some guaranteed success from that promotion, even if he was working part-time and eventually full-time. And what you thought of, but anyways, he's been like that ever since. And what you thought about the story that Kurt Angle told into this interview? Sound off in the comments below. This is going to be the end of my video right here. And that was your list of the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors that you SNA fans need to know on November 15th, 2023, which was my episode 125th of the SNA podcast, which was part 41 of the wrestling news. And which one of these news stories was your favorite one particularly? Y'all let me know y'all let me know down in the comments below about that as well. And And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please leave a huge thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe, click the bell notifications. And hopefully I did a pretty good job analyzing the wrestling news onto my first time doing the WrestleZone article. And yeah, and also share it with your friends and family all over social media. No matter what kind of social platform you have, just post it, share it with, and recommend your family and friends of watching me and my content on. And I would love to have more viewers, more subscribers, and if you're enjoying this content and you haven't subscribed already, please, I would recommend you to click on that subscribe button and that bell notifications right beside it. And it's free. And if you want to change your mind, you can do that as well. It's a guaranteed. But yeah, I've been your host, Super Ninja Austin. Hope you guys enjoyed my 125th episode of the SNA podcast, Wrestling News Part 41. And later on, I'll be doing my latest edition of the AEW Dynamite review, which will be Part 14. Opposite numbers of 41, of course, because this is the 14th week I've been doing the SNA podcast Wrestling News reviews, with WWE and AEW. But tonight it's gonna be a very special one, because it's gonna be the street fight match with Team Chris Jericho and Paul White and Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi taking on the Don Callis family with Brian Cage, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, Kyle Fletcher, and Konosuke Takeshita, which Jericho recently faced him at DDT Japan Pro Wrestling's event back from this past Sunday, which Jericho beat him, of course. And do you think that Team Jericho and Omega and them is going to beat Team Don Callis family? Or do you think Don Callis family is going to beat them? Which I believe Jericho and Omega and White and Kota Ibushi should win this match, because they rarely get wins against the Don Callis family. The last time that I had seen a memorable victory was on a random episode of Dynamite when Jericho and Omega beat Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita, which I believe Omega pinned Kyle Fletcher. But hopefully we have someone like an Omega or Jericho pins like a Powerhouse Hobbs or a Brian Cage spot, after they hit the one-winged angel or Judas effect, or whatever may be the case, after the match. But yeah, I'm hoping they get the win. And yeah, and this match is sponsored with the Sega video game company, because AEW recently made a partnership sponsor with the video game creator company. And we're probably going to see more Sega sponsors into this crossover with AEW, with All Elite Wrestling. But yeah, we're going to talk about that later on in the AEW Dynamite review. And stay tuned till then. Hopefully y'all have a great Wednesday afternoon, and I'll see you all there. Until the meantime, Super Ninja Austin, the Assassin, is out. Bye-bye for now, my SNA fans.